Hey guys, so back again and let's continue with the project NodeMailer and React. So today is a new day, okay? I recorded the first two parts yesterday, so I'm starting the React client. So let's say npm start on that folder, move this out of the way, and inside this, let me close edge, okay? Inside this folder, git bash here and say node dev index because I'm using node dev, and okay, that should be. So I already have this. Just wait a second. Let's refresh. It seems that it's working, but did I? Okay, I think I forgot to add the font. It doesn't look good. So it's this one. And let me go to index inside or. Yes, I forgot. So I can remember, okay, which one I had. Index CSS, I had Roboto. So let's go back to index and let's go to Google Fonts. Just like that. And let's grab Roboto from here. Roboto is the first one, okay. You click here and it will open this. It will fill with your font this link. So just copy that and go to your index HTML and paste it. Actually, wherever you want, but let's paste it here on line 13. And okay, you can see the font changed. So that's it. So let's clear this and let's continue. So right now we can send an email, and I receive after I updated the preview. That's what I kind of like of adding a preview. So in case someone wants to add something, we can add that, or it should be easier to add that instead of just having everything recorded, you know, like 2 or 3 weeks before uploading. So people won't get any change that they might request. So he requested to add a button that tells that the file or that the email was received. So we will add that later. It's the same thing that we're going to do like we did with the send email and the loader. Okay, so it's only going to appear when we have a marker set. So so let's close this and we will take that, we will take care of that at the end. So that's just a pure kind of UX. So you should know that most of the things with these projects, I don't care too much about UX, but we will have some UX courses later, matching some kind of trends that are in terms of landing pages. So we're going to build some landing pages using Adobe XD and HTML, CSS, or maybe React and Angular, because why not? After that, we might take the universal route, that is server-side rendering, okay, for both. But I still need to check for that. So yeah, just saying. Now let's continue with what we need to do, that is inside Mailer controller. We already have Molter installed, so let's actually come back here and close the client or minimize that. So we already have Molter here, and Molter is going to allow us to upload a file. So let me check something. Not Mailer 2. Let me just go to my other. Okay. You can see that the temp folder is empty, and we're going to fulfill the next functionality. with the upload function that is going to take care of the form data that comes into this request. So now we should be able to see the form data, because yesterday we weren't able to, or in the last video we weren't able to see that. So let's see if that works. So you can see that we're going to use this upload a request handler, okay? That is the function we created, and we are using this from Multer. So upload is going to take the request. So what it's going to do is to pass this request and this response, okay, into the essentially the request into the function of this event handler. So we are not going to be able to access anything, okay? We can't access the request body here, because it's outside of the function that is going to handle that, okay? So right now you cannot access anything here, as far as I remember that it was something that Multer had, that once the event handler is set, you cannot access anything because it's forwarded into this upload, and you cannot grab anything outside. So there's a safe spot where you can grab the functionality or the request body and anything you send that is inside the upload function. I will show you where, of course. So this one is going to be an async function, because we're going to wait for a few things. Yes, and we might need, yes, we're going to need our handler, so we are going to use that. So let's get used to use the promise handler that I show you in the TypeScript and Node API for the MERN and min stack. So we will add that later. So let's say async, and we're going to pass the error if there's an error. So if this is an error, it's going to be a Multer error. So let's say if error and response status, we're going to say just status 500 internal server error, just to abstract everything else. And we can pass data here for the client to know what's going on, okay? But this is an Multer error, so kind of the abstraction here is kind of useless, but let's get used to do that. So it's not here, else. Right now, okay, if there's an error, it's going to be a code here, and we're going to send the 500 status and the error inside this data property for the client to know. And here, else, we're going to handle the rest of the information. So inside this else, we can access the title, the body, the email from the requested body. So instead of saying a constant title equals request that body that title, we just grab this using this syntax, okay, from the request body. Now constant image, I'm going to grab the image by itself. So this one is going to be requested file. Requested file is not inside the Node specification, okay? So this is something that Multer brings us, so we can access and manage the file. So in order to access a file, if you can access that, you need to install Multer, because that's the only way to access a file with another package that is not only the Node specification we get with the Node installation. So let's say constant, and now we're going to create the content that we're going to send. HTML equals, so we're going to generate these backticks. You will need to check if you don't know how to generate those. I use algr and the curly bracket, So I need to say 1, 2 in order to show those. Okay. So you will need to check that if you don't know how to do it. It depends on your keyboard and on your this thing language input method. So here we can get or we can use HTML. So let's use HTML. We're going to say problem, and with backticks we can grab some or use some of the constants and variables we have using this $sign and the two curly braces. We say title. So now let's add a paragraph and let's say client email, just to add the client email, because we want to know who sent that and who we need to contact. So let's say email. We get the email and we use a div here. This is just personal preference. You can style this or add any information you need. So paragraph, problem, description, that is the body of our request. The actual body here, not the request body, but the body itself, and a div with a body okay, there we go. The next thing is something that it seems we need to do. So let's say image source, because we need actually to add a unique ID here. So maybe not mailer, send image, let's say, using embedded image or images. So if you come here to this URL, you can see that they have an example of using embedded image. You use this HTML, but we're using we're first creating the content, okay, here, and we are going to use that later. So we have this unique creata that EE, that is the ID that we have here. So it seems that we need to actually send a unique ID. You can generate a unique ID using the date now. So this is what we're going to do. Actually, we're going to use the same. So let me just copy that. I'm going to copy that from my code and paste it, but you can just grab it from here. Copy this or copy this one. Copy, and let's go back here. Although I already have this, let's paste it back. Okay, so you can see it's the same. And this is going to show the image. So we add a semicolon here, just for looks, and they say constant transporter. We need to create a transporter using not mailer that create transporter or transport. So in this, we're going to send all the information and set the configurations that our SMTP provides us. So first is the host. As I explained before, this is going to send to our SMTP, but our SMTP will need some configurations, some settings to know where it needs to forward this email. Okay, so this is for not mailer, and let's go to I already have that. So SMTP Console in JPG, let's open that so I can show you what you need. You need on the SMTP server, you need InV3 or whatever it gives you. So we need this one in the host. So I'm just going to copy mine. And paste it. Okay, we have that. We need the port. Okay, so the port is 587. They tell you it's 25 or someone, okay, or some ports, or sometimes the port could be blocked, the 25. So we're going to use a 587, and we're not going to use a TLS or anything like that. In this case, let's say secure false, and we need to send the out, that is who is sending this, or the credentials that we are going to use at our user, and let's add a comma there, and pass. Okay, so where do we get this? So let me just go here, and this is the user, okay, API key. So the user goes here, okay, inside quotes, and also the password inside quotes. So I'm not going to use mine right now. You just need to add yours, okay. It's this one, and the pass or the password is this one, the secret key, and you need to add that inside this. Okay, so user and pass, they are going to give you some numeric values, okay, and you just need to copy this and paste it inside your user, and copy this and paste it inside your password. Okay, so that is going to be set. Right now this is not going to work for me because I'm not going to use this, but I will use that in a second to show you that it works, or that it should work. So after this, we are going to set our handler. So we need to actually, oh, let's add it here. Actually, I don't see any reason to add another library. So let me find that in my code. Okay, I have it actually inside here. So this is our promise handler. This handle is going to take a promise, and depending on the result, we're going to set either data and the error to be undefined, or data to be undefined and error in case there is an error. So this is a 200 request, or I mean a 200 response, or okay response that everything went right and we have the data. And this is a 500, sorry, or 401, 404, whatever, that it means that we don't receive any information and we just got an error. So we're going to use that here. So constant, and for that to work we need to set this because we're using React, okay, this should be similar to what you know, you React people. So we're going to create this SMTP, sorry, simple mail transfer protocol response, and inside SMTP response error. So you remember use a state hook from React, okay? So think of this, think that this is something similar to that. So this one is going to respond with two things. So it's going to respond with either data or error, but one, always we're going to receive two sets, okay, or one set of two values that is going to be the data and the error. Even though if one is undefined, it's not our problem, but we're going to receive the two values in every iteration of this function. So we say await handle, and this is our handler, and we need to pass, the promise that we are going to use. So we need to say transporter that send mail. So this is the function that is going to send to our SMTP. And what I found is that we need to set some things to work with our Mailjet account or Mailjet SMTP. We need an envelope. Okay, so I'm not too into mails and all this, so this is kinda where, okay, they even say so, right? From the first address gets used as a mail from address. Okay, so we need to include from who we are sending this, and let's add this with this semicolon, with this double quotes and this simple quotes, SMTP server. And here, remember that. So let's go to, okay, I will need to open my other fuck, I didn't realize this. Okay, so let me move that, and just going to set a few things, and let me go to my Mailjet, because this is important. Okay, so I am here, Mailjet platform, access or sign in or whatever it says in English, yes, access or login or sign in or whatever. So we already have the configuration for our SMTP, and what we need to do is to remittance directions. Click there, and as I told you, okay, this one, because for some reason we have this, maybe because it's sent, because I received this email yesterday that this is not verified. So let me show you what you would do. Okay, this could be helpful. So okay, if I click this, okay, you will see to send emails from this account, you have to confirm this direction. They don't even give me that for some reason. You will have this edit, and this is just the same. This is the email that you are going to use in order to send. This is going to be your email that you set, and you can set another one. Okay, but you need to verify this. You just say you just select this one and say update or activate. I can't remember what it says first, but you just set that, and you go back, and you should have this active state, not waiting or something like that. Okay, so this is the domain we're going to use, and this is the direction we're going to use to send the email. So that is what we need to set here. So I'm going to say my email, because that is what is going to look for .com. Okay, so it needs to be inside this how you call these things, I don't know, so inside those, and let's say 2, because we need to specify who this email is going to go, or who we want to receive this email. This email. So we need to say our account, in my case is my Gmail. Okay, and we need to set a comma here and say mailer, and the same allocava@gmail.com. So you will need to specify your Gmail here, and this mailer that is going to be the actually email that is going to be displayed. So this is allocava@gmail.com, the same email that I'm using here. So just match that with this and it should work. We'll add a comma here after the envelope, and now we can create our subject. That our subject is whatever you need. So let's actually say something else. Website, no, IT problem tooth site, something like that, just to show you that this is different, that we are going to receive something different that what we had before. HTML. Okay, and now inside this HTML we just need to send our content HTML. Okay, that our content HTML is what we have here, so we're going to use that. Now we need to set our attachment, because we already have an idea of what is going to be displayed, but we don't have the attachment. So this is where Molter comes to work again, because we received the information, the file, and I'm going to just yes, I'm going to comment this out so we can test just Molter and then test everything that should work. So we need to say attachments, and we need to add an array and an object inside that. So we need to say file name, okay, is the image, that file name, because that image itself is a file. We set our path, and this one is where that image is stored. So this is where Molter comes really handy. So this is not it, sorry, it's backticks. So it's just the same temp. So you remember we have a temporary folder that is on where we are going to store our files, and we need to add the backticks because we are going to use a image, that file name, okay, to get the file name after. You remember that this is going to set the field name as the name, adding a dash, adding the current date, and adding the extension. So this is going to change the name of the file, and when we receive file name, is actually that name that Molter changed, so you cannot go wrong with this. And CID, okay, is the same that we specify inside our let me show you. So it's this one, okay. Let's copy that, and yep, let's go back and paste it here, so it gets the reference on where to use the file. So that's actually it. So this one is the handler, so that's it. And we need to say we're going to handle this because this is actually the end. So let's handle this, and we're going to test in a second. So let's say if you React people will understand this, okay. So or you should be familiar with this because it's something that currently is pretty used inside React. They use a state that gives you two values always. So this is the same. We're going to check if SMTP response came back, okay. So if they actually sent the file, the email, sorry, I get confused, and we're going to say status of 200, saying that everything went okay, JSON to send the JSON, and data, and we add this. I'm going to copy this and paste it. So if the SMTP response was correct, meaning that this is okay and we receive green light in a way, so this is going to return with a message ID that we can use. So we are just going to display the data or send this data email receive. We will reach you as soon as we can, and even we can use this inside or React. Yeah, I think we're going to use this. Okay, I was planning to set a message, but I think we can use this, or we're going to use it. So this is the OK response. Okay, everything went correctly and all that. And now, let me scroll down a little bit. So we can check the response that is not working. So it's SMTP response error. So if there is an error with that, it's going to return this response error, and we're going to say response that's status again 500 and JSON. So this JSON is going to contain again the data, and we're going to return the SMTP error response. Okay, so that is the error that, for example, when I was testing, I didn't realize, because I follow tutorials, from quite the YouTubers, or for several YouTubers, but they didn't have this because, of course, those are outdated and all that, and it depends also on the SMTP you're using. But we need to use this envelope, and in the case we don't add this envelope, it's going to display us that we have an error, that something is missing, that we have a syntax error that is going to say, and that is going to be caught here is inside this SMTP response error, and we're going to send back that to the user. So what I'm going to do now is just to say this. So I'm not too good with all the shortcuts for this. I actually never used shortcuts. I have a Mnet installed, so yeah. But I really use that because I rather just to copy my things or to type it myself. So we have this. So let's actually try this. Let's actually say, first of all, console.log response that body to see that, and we could say response that status 200 just to send back something. JSON, sorry if I'm too okay, let me scroll. I was too down the screen, so too low. So JSON data, and let's add content HTML. That should be a string, so let's see what happens there. Most of the times I like to try all this crap so we can see what happens. Okay, I forgot to add something here. Now here we can access the request that body safely, because we're doing that in line 23. So let's actually go back here. We have this open, so okay, let me just do something. Okay, it opens on the correct folder. Nice. So let's say test. Okay, and okay, I need to reopen the developer tools. So something whatever, and we need to actually say an email here. Now we need to choose a file. So let's choose this one, maybe open, and okay, let me. Okay, so I'm actually not setting the JPEG, so we should be able to send PNG. I thought I did that. Okay, no, never mind. So we can actually send any image. So let's say set email, and this returns us undefined. So let's see what's going on there. On the find request that body. That is what we want. And send email again. And you can see we have this object null prototype title test body and username and all that. So let's go into our temporary folder, and you can see we have two images. Why we have two images? Because even though the first time we set or we sent that we got an error or something was undefined, still Molter uploads the image if he can. So at the point we reach the request body, the image is already uploaded. Okay, so the way to deal with that, although I didn't do that in my code, I'm going to no, I'm not going to type it. I'm going to just say it. You use the file system from Node. Okay, so constant file system equals a file system. Sorry, require file system. Okay, so we require file system, and we say. So let me just guide you in the correct. So Node.js delete file, something like that. For you to see the only thing that you need to do, that you already have the name of the file. Let's see this one. Okay, no, I have okay, Node.js here, because this is what I say about not being caught in this tutorial hell, because I want you to investigate and to learn more things and to add the things that you need. Okay, so I will guide you in the path you need, but I won't hold your hand through all this. Most of the way I will, but I will just leave you alone for you to try to add new things, but I will guide you in the way. So you can use the file system on link. So you require the file system and you use the file path. Okay, so we actually know the file path, don't we? We're using that here. So this is the file path of the image that is stored inside our Molter. So let's think this for a second. If we have the file path already, okay, so when we have this request body, the file is already uploaded. We already have the file path, we already have the name, we already have everything that we need. So when or where we need to handle the deletion of the file if the email is not sent or if there's an error. Where? Okay, let's ask that because I want you to be familiarized with the process thinking that this thing requires. Okay, so as I said, I don't want you to be caught in this tutorial hell where you actually don't use your head, because most of the time YouTubers only show you what they know or what they think that could help you, but they don't show you everything else, and then they don't show you the process thinking that you need to understand and you need to have in order to continue with your self-growth. Okay, so that is the idea of this channel, to hold your hand while we are doing something, but later you are on your own. Okay, you will need to investigate, and I will show you the process thinking of how to add different things and how to think and how to handle errors. Okay, but most of the times I will not be around when you have an error, so I want you to think and understand how to deal with those. Okay, so let's think again. We already have the request body. Okay, we received that, and at this point the file is already uploaded. So where if there's an error, where is that error, and where we need to set just this line that is the path. Okay, we already have the path, and we need to say file system on link sync. Okay, there's another function that is just on link, but we usually use on link sync because it's not going to hog the browser. Okay, it's going to send this into the I think it's going to send it to the event loop. If you don't know the event loop, I don't know who you've been watching videos from, because I explain event loop in several of my videos. Okay, so it's going to be sent into the event loop, so it's not going to hog this process. And now we send just the file path that we already have. So we already received that, and we know the file is updating or uploading, so we know everything is working fine. So let's actually do this, and I won't send anything right now, but in order to continue with what I was talking about, I needed to remove the comments. So let's place the code here. Okay, let's keep the image here. Where do we have an error? Don't think I'm calling you stupid or something like that, but this is just for you to understand right away. Where we have an error? We have an error on the SMTP response error if this happens to go wrong. Okay, so the principal error of this, or the main error, is that we don't send the email and the file gets inside the like it did here, the email sent, and we still have two files. If you have a server, or if you plan to receive thousands, or maybe not thousands, hundreds of emails, your temporary folder is going to be, full with only 100 requests. Okay, so you will have a ton of files there that you actually don't need. So you need to delete them from your system, from your server. And where we manage that, okay, where we receive that error, okay, so that is just a hint. I want you to check that and understand and think about the errors that could happen and how to handle those. Okay, so we have this, and this is not going to work because I don't have my code here. So I'm going to move this to my other screen. This is already done, and if there is an error, I will handle that error. But this is already done, and we know we are receiving the file, it's being stored, and you just need to say, let's say here, delete the file. Delete the file after sending, okay, after sending the email or after an error. So we need to do two things. Delete it when we send the email and we know everything is okay, because we don't want to keep that file stored inside our temporal folder, and when there's an error because the email is just not moving forward. Okay, so check this one. Okay, Stack Overflow questions. I see a ton of people saying, "Oh, Stack Overflow is they are mean for." They are always, it's always that shit. Okay, always there are people that are like that they feel superior and all that crap. So you just need to man up or women up and take all the shit that they throw at you and just try to keep that focus on your learning, and you will be successful. So don't worry too much about that. Just ask or just do your research and you will be just fine. So don't worry too much about that. And I'm going to do the next. I'm going to move this to my other screen. Okay, and I'm going to just, because we're going to test this right away, and this should be the end, but I need to handle my credentials to my code. So you should already have that and test it. If there's an error, okay, I will receive that error too. So don't worry too much. So let's save that, and we already have that. Okay. So this one, okay, we can actually send it, and let's see what happens. So okay, because there's one thing missing, and yep, let's go to client. I'm going to just set this one here. Okay, because there's one thing missing, so let's close the index and Multer and the controller, and I just placed it in the index because I don't want to show you my credentials. Okay, mailer response JSON. So this should be okay. Let me just open that on my other, because I don't have the client right now. We're going to work with the client if there's an error. So let me see what I'm missing, because as you can see, this wasn't sent. So that's what that often happens on a tutorial. So because so let's say console.log error, sorry, response, and say that. Let's see if we get a hint of what is going on. It's compiling, so let me move this so you can see it's still compiling, and let's wait for that. Everything should be okay. Okay, so it took a while actually, and we can send whatever we want except for this username. And I received the email, of course, but you heard my phone, but of course we didn't get, or we didn't get any feedback. So let's say registration, thank you. So let's close, clear the console, send email. Okay, problem that, I'm doing all that because I'm still consoling that, it seems. So let's wait to see if I receive something else here. Okay, it's not happening. So let me go to controller, because I'm consoling again the let me just cut this, save it, and just come back here to show you. So this is not going to respond. Okay, it's going to okay, response status, we are sending JSON before everything else, so this is actually not going to work. So let's delete that. Sorry about that, I forgot to remove that, and we can delete that, and everything should work right now. You can see that I deleted those because I'm going to add it again. At this point you can just save and try again. Man, I hate to do this, but I just don't want you to see my credentials. That's the only thing. And oh, okay, let me just move that again. Fuck. Oh, because I don't have that open, because I'm that smart. Sorry about this, but it's just that it's how things are when you are using your credentials and you don't want to show them. I usually don't mind, but because they don't allow you to change that. Okay, I just save that, and let's go to index just to have something in the screen. So because they don't allow you to actually change that unless you reach, you can see data email received, and we will reach you as soon as we can, and we should receive that email. So If that is okay, you should be able to receive that email. Sorry if this added more abstraction to what we actually were doing, but if you're after deleting the response that we were sending with only the HTML that is this thing, okay, don't, okay, so let me just get this straight. Okay, I have that. Your code should look like this. The console here, well, wasn't a problem, but the console here inside these lines or between these lines above the transporter wasn't was not allowing not to continue with this that is actually sending that. So you just need to remove that and everything should work. So we received that, but we actually don't, or I actually haven't received the email. So I'm just sending my credentials back again just to test. Okay, I have that. Let's close this. So let's go to Gmail. Gmail, only that. I received the first one and you will see that I received that. I have 3 news or 3 new emails. Okay, it seems I didn't. You can see that I still received that. Okay, so let me just, because it seems I made a mistake with the so yeah, delete. Okay, I made a mistake with that. So that's on the screen. Okay. Yes. So let me just cut this, save it, and go back here because I have this one. Okay, just close the H1. I forgot to close that, and everything seems to be working. So let's paste that again, save it, and let's go back to, okay, and you can even see inside your Mailjet account that you should have your sent emails here, and okay, here you can see the date. So that is actually pretty useful. So right now we're going to send another one. So let's say final test whatever that username, and let's choose another file just to be different. Send email. We receive the correct response. Email received. We will reach you as soon as we can, and the ID of that we will add that in the next video because some things maybe here are not that easy to digest. So you can see final test. This actually, they are not sending me the notifications to my phone. What the hell? Okay. And you can see client email username at username, but the email was forwarded using this account. Okay, that is inside your SMTP. That is the account that you need to activate using these remitted directions. Okay, so it's using the first one, that is this one. Okay, so you can add several others for your business or your host, your domain. So that is actually working, and I'm going to wrap this video here and add the last thing, that is just we received the email, we will reach you or something like that, just to with that message. And yeah, yes, so this is working. Okay, I hope it didn't add too much abstraction the way I handled that, because I really don't want to show my credentials. So, and in order to send that, we need to actually set the credentials, so you should be it should be working for you too. So let's wrap this up and continue just adding the button, the feedback for the user to know that it's sent, and see you in the next one.